Oh, yeah, you've been a popular dude at my house this week.
I wasn't going to tell him yet.
You was,
I was going to tell him on camera. I meant to tell you, like, no, I was going to wait.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yep, well, then you'll find out.
Okay.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Think Big, Act Bold podcast, where we interview people who are changing the youth, having an impact on the youth, and doing things in creative ways that other people aren't. So today, I'm super excited to have Mr. Will Howard from WillPower to talk about what WillPower is, where it's been, where it's going, and everything in between. So if you would like to introduce yourself, we would love to hear more about you.
My name is Will Howard. I'm the creator, director of WillPower Unleashed, which is a youth mentoring program, primarily for boys right now, but we are growing. And so we focus on character development and leadership for young men, and I'm glad to be here. I thank you for the invitation.
Of course. Yeah. So first question is, where did WillPower come from? What's the origin story? What made you realize, like, hey, one, this is needed, and two, I'm the person to make it happen?
I would say it's something that I did not see on my vision board, no pun intended. I didn't realize it's something I would be doing, but I just think like life's experiences kind of culminated in where I'm at now. I've been working with youth since 2013.
Wow.
I started my journey in that field in the school system for Harford County. I worked as a paraeducator for elementary school, and then after that, I went to work with Boys and Girls Clubs and did work with them for a number of years. Took it even into Baltimore and directed the club there. Went to case management, and then after all of that, I was just like, I'm ready to put this into practice for myself. And every job that I worked at with youth development, you know, it requires you to bring a piece of yourself into it. It requires you to have that passion. You know, there's some things that can't be told to you or explained to you. You kind of just have to have a feel for it. And so I just took all of my approaches and said, I'm just going to kind of put it into streamline into things that I feel kids need the most. Yeah. And that is character development. That's helping them to find their voice. That's helping them to determine what their purpose is. Because when you understand what your purpose is, then it's easier for your actions to align. Okay. Because you know where you're going, you have a sense of direction. Those are the things that kind of pushed me into doing that. I had a friend, and you guys may know him. His name is J.R. Clark.
Yeah, he was just actually on last week.
Okay, he's an amazing coach, and he's a local native and all that. And so we were talking. I was helping him with some curriculum development work. I think we were talking about like this has to be housed somewhere. Like how could we do this? And it was no house for it. And I was like, you know what? I'm about to just put this into play. And I just locked in and put the structure behind what it needed. I think that was kind of like the inception of me kind of making a decision to go for it. Yeah. And I just put the work in, put the structure behind it, put the mission and the vision together, and I had already had the experience because I was doing it for a long time, and I had the heart and the passion for it. So that's pretty much how it came about.
Now, do you have a focus, like age group wise?
Yeah, so we work with like 8 to 22.
Okay.
We go up that it's a big range, but we focus on like pivotal years in kids' lives. So from a child, and then you go to an adolescent, to a teenager, and to a young adult. And your beginning stage as an adult can be complicated and hard to navigate too. Yeah. You need support. So we focus on those pivotal moments between 8 and 22.
Okay, so I know. And I've been watching your journey. I've been kind of following along and seeing, and I know you were in a few schools last year. Yes. Had a huge summer camp this year, and I'd imagine you're in even more schools this year than last year.
Yes, we took 2 more. So we started with 4. Well, actually started with 3. Then we picked up another one near the end of the school year. So we started at Magnolia Elementary, Halls Crossroads Elementary, and Edgewood Middle. Okay. We started like the second semester of last school year. And then by 4th quarter, we picked up Deerfield Elementary. And now this year, we've also picked up Joppatown Elementary, and Magnolia Middle.
Okay.
So we're at 6 this year.
Congrats.
Yeah,
So I think you say it very humbly, but there's a lot of people who are wondering, like, man, how do you do it? Because a lot of initiatives, they kind of start outside of the schools and they're trying to figure it out. And the schools are like a target because they have the audience that you need. They have the kids. So I was amazed when I saw this isn't another, and not to like sound like I'm degrading after school programs, because they are like very well needed.
Yeah.
But you've actually taken it a step further and are in the schools during the school days.
Right. I think that I kind of gravitated towards that model because when I worked at Joppatown Elementary School, where I first like got started in youth development, after like a year or two there, I was there for 5 years. After like a year or two there, I started a mentorship program there.
Okay.
And it was during the school day, while I was working there. So I would meet with the kids in the cafeteria in the morning. I would bring in guest speakers with them.
Wow.
We'd do breakfast with them. And then because I was there, I could like check in on them. I'd go to their classrooms, and if I need to pull them out and talk to them. So pretty much the model that I'm doing now it stems from my time when I first started a program at Joppatown a few years back. So when I got ready to get started, that was just always my mindset. Because even with after school programs, like I said, I directed the Boys and Girls Club and stuff like that before. So I would always take it a step further. Like I would always go to their schools.
Okay.
Always. I would always talk to their principals. I would always talk to the guidance counselors and see what was going on. Some of the kids weren't going to school. Some of them were failing, and if my kids are failing, then that's not good. I feel like what else more could I be doing? And so to me, it's like let me get there with them while they're in real time and they have to make these decisions, and let me put a program together that makes sense where we're just not assisting the kids, but we're also assisting the teachers.
Yeah.
Because one of just my thought processes with that whole concept was that it's unfair, to expect teachers to be both a mentor and an educator, because those are two separate lifts or two separate roles, and you have to have enough capacity for both, and that's a lot to expect the educator to have to do when they have to worry about classroom expectations, academic expectations, and things of that nature. So when you have a mentor that has the capacity to solely focus on the internal issues that typically hinder the academic success, because no kid wants to not just do well in school,
right?
So it's usually some type of internal issue or struggle, whether it's the lack of motivation, whether it's something going on at home, whether it's lack of confidence in themselves, because they've been beat down for so long, or whether they're measuring themselves up against other people, or if they don't feel like they do something well, then they just act out. Like whatever their philosophy is behind why they, perform the way they do, a mentor, we have full capacity to just deal with it and then make sure that holding them accountable to the expectations. So we work in tandem with educators. So I don't just when they're with me, it's a different world than when they're in class. We marry the two, so you get the nurture and support from me, but you're also going to get the accountability from me and the follow through from me. I want to see results, the things that I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And that's always being measured and always being looked for. So we work in tandem with the school to ultimately support the kid. It takes a village. It can't just fall on one person. So I observed that was a much needed support in the schools, because sometimes the class sizes are even overwhelmingly big.
Oh yeah.
And if you have kids with that are showing certain behavior issues, you don't even have the time to figure out why. They're just getting sent out of class, or whatever the consequence is. So we just wanted to do school with them. Like I said, I've done after school programs, and they come to me, and I'm still trying to get to the root of the issue. I always ask a bunch of questions. Now, I'm sure they would get tired of me asking them, how we get here, what happened, and who's your teacher, what's your teacher's name? And I'll be at the school trying to figure it out, and I'm like, well, we want to start here.
Yeah.
We want to start right in school, and eventually I do want to get back into after school programming. But, just for the structure of this model, those were the intended purposes, to support the kids in real time and support the educators that teach them.
And in turn, it's like a huge support for the parents because
parents,
another
right.
thing is transportation.
Right,
So
you don't have to
after
worry
school
about it, yeah.
programs, like someone has to pick the kid up
Right.
to where a lot of the kids are riding the bus to school. So now they're able to get that extra layer of support without it being
Any
a burden on the
inconvenience
parents.
to parents, right.
And I never thought about it as far as like the teachers, because I think now, of course you brought up teachers having to be mentors too, but on top of that, the trainings they have to go through, the safety protocols they have to
Right.
go through.
It's a lot of pressure on
Yes.
them. I definitely empathize with them because they want the students to thrive as well. But then even sometimes, when you're dealing with so many behaviors, it can cause a breakdown in the relationship between the teacher and the kid. And, that's maybe wasn't the intention.
Right.
But after so much is going on, you have this breakdown. And so even us coming in, we're able to kind of restore relationships. We're able to advocate for that child, that they may be doing this because of this, or this is what we've noticed, and just work together. How can we work this out? And sometimes it takes form in different ways. I may have thought that it was going to be this, but the teacher says, well, they actually need help in this area. No
Okay.
problem. Let's make it work. Let's conform it to whatever, it needs to be. Yeah.
So funny story, my husband and I, we met at Edgewood Middle School.
Oh, wow. Oh,
So-
I've been there for a long time.
Yeah, we
Okay.
we attended Edgewood Middle School together, and anyone that kind of attended during like the same time frame, when you walked in like the main corridor to the gym, there was always 3 to 4 men standing there. Mr. Denby, Mr. Howe, Mr. Gibbons. I'm missing one, Kev. Mr. Denby, Mr. Howe,
Pleasant.
Mr. Gibbons, and Mr. Pleasant. They were all standing at the front every single morning, every single afternoon. And they were pulling people aside and just checking on them.
Wow.
Hey, how are you doing? If your head was down, pick your head up. If your hood was up, take your hood off. And they were I looked at them, and their roles were not mentors.
Wow.
I know some were substitutes. I know some were in school suspension, but it wasn't a deemed mentorship role. So when I saw you in Edgewood Middle School, I was like, he's the new clique. But now it's more structured, and now you have the capability to do more because they were important people to a lot of people who just didn't have that.
Yeah.
And then if you had in school suspension, you were seeing them, they were like, we just talked in the hallway.
Right.
You're not going to be here.
And I love that they were doing that.
Yeah.
That wasn't really even their role, but it was their function. That's what they were functioning in.
Right. So now you've kind of like grown it even further. And now our son actually goes to Edgewood Middle. And
Yes.
Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday, he brings home paperwork.
Oh, did he?
And he had brought it up the end of last year, and he was like, I'm kind of interested in this willpower thing. And I said, well, our rule is like, okay, if you're interested in something, you have to explain it to us to make sure like you're actually interested. You're not just following the leader or following behind somebody. So he brings it back and he's like, no, we're going to go. It'll be a spot where I have somebody to talk to when I need to talk to, or if I can't figure out things, I can go to them and they're going to help me. I have some friends get involved. So he came home like so excited to the point of, hey, did you fill out the form yet? Hey, did you fill out the form yet? He ended up bringing home a second form.
What?
Just in case, I guess it came from another teacher, and so he got everything turned in. But when the excitement that he had for the program, mentorship, it doesn't sound fun and pretty, and a lot of times it's like, oh, okay, they're just a guidance counselor, but you've built excitement around it. So I don't know if you knew how much you're being talked about, but he's like avidly excited, and it wasn't like a teacher's like, hey, I'm having trouble with you, you should be in this program.
He wanted to be in it.
Yeah, I mean, he's an honor roll student, he's a good student, he's like, I want to be in the program.
See, that's a good point too, because there's room for students like him.
Yeah.
Because every child that we have in the program doesn't necessarily have behavior issues, but I feel like that balance and that mix, it also gives space for like peer-to-peer mentorship.
Yeah.
It gives space for kids to be inspired, because when you have a lot of kids that are kind of following down a certain path, and then you have some in there that are, kind of charting their own way, in the midst of the masses doing something differently. I think that speaks volumes, but they're included. We're all like a family. We're like a brotherhood. So they're just able to learn from each other. So I think that's a great a great thing. I didn't know that he had got a permission slip. I didn't know any of that, so that's good. And I know one thing the kids say to me a lot is that they see us on Instagram, and that's intentional too. Like pretty much everything about the program is built on intentionality. One reason we use social media is because I know that they use social media, and so a lot of the messages that we talk about, we make sure that it can be seen by them in their timeline. We make sure they can see themselves in their timeline because streaming is very popular, being in the public eye is very popular.
Yeah.
And so they already have that desire, but for them to be able to see themselves, knowing that it's possible to be seen in a positive light.
And public.
Yeah, positive and public light for doing something well and learning and building your character, versus just kind of, and there's nothing wrong with the streaming and stuff too. Like I think it's innovative, and it's just mind-boggling to see where we're at, in society now. But this was intentional for them to be able to see themselves on a public platform, and for them to have an opportunity to be showcased. So.
And I think the other cool thing about it is they're seeing themselves outside of the typical Instagram feed.
Right, so
it might be them speaking. It might be them in a group setting. It might, it's not what you're normally seeing, and then it's like, oh, so it automatically stops them, and they're like, oh, I know him,
right.
Or oh, wait, that's me.
Right.
Hey, why didn't you get any footage of me?
That's
like I was there.
They do come to me and say like, oh, I seen such and such on Instagram. How come I can't be on? I said, you could be on there. And so they volunteer. We don't make anybody do anything, but now that they see the traction of it, they're attracted to it a lot. Yeah.
So I know, like, of course, you're building a lot. What are some challenges that you've kind of faced? And I guess like this was last year your first year in the schools through the program?
Well, first year period.
Okay.
We're going on our second year.
Okay.
So this is fairly new. There's been some challenges. One of the main things is you got to believe in yourself, because it's not an overnight thing,
Right.
So it's a process, and then to get to the point where you're able to, be an official partner with the schools, that takes a lot of diligence and, kind of crossing all those items off that, on a checklist that need to be done in order to be a validated partner with them. And so it takes patience. It didn't happen overnight, and sometimes people can fall to the wayside because of the time and what it takes to keep going. I think that was one of the challenges, just belief in self, and then just your diligence. You can't give up if it's not easy. You got to keep on going. But other than that, and then actually putting a program together takes a lot of brain power. It takes a lot of energy out of me.
Yeah.
Because everything I keep saying it, everything I do is with intention. So our program is, it's not a copy and paste from other things. There's very intentional elements a part of it. So I spend a lot of time working, like all the time, like from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, because these are infancy stages where we're building something. So I'm not out hanging out, people don't see me a lot because I'm literally working.
And it shows. I mean, the intentionality behind it, the fact that it's only year 2 for you, and just the growth that has gone through, and just, you're catching attention to where we had, I think you were at an event at Deerfield and your table was full. So we didn't get to introduce ourselves, but it was kind of like amazing because it's needed. And I think, like you said, with the teachers, there's so much put on them that where it's like this little break, or there's just going to be teachers that students cannot connect with. So then when you can't connect with a teacher, especially the way the schedules are worked, because some of the schedules, they're with these teachers. I know, like one day our son's with the same he only has 4 classes that day, and he's with the same teachers.
Weeks,
So 2 blocks he's with the same teacher. Luckily they have a great relationship. But if they didn't, who are these students going to go to? And now they have an outlet within you and your program and the people that you work with, to where they can say, like, I like need a moment. Like, can I go to my safe space? And they have that, where normally it's just like, okay, you don't like your teacher, sit there and shut up, and
you gotta deal with it.
So I think that's absolutely incredible.
Reprieve. I do feel like there should be like reprieve and things built in the school day. and it's important, like,
Yeah.
to have a safe space or have somewhere to go to if it's getting too tough to get through. Yeah.
So, as we're talking about like growing, I'm sure there's a ton of things coming for the future. What support, what would you need from anybody watching, the community? What's something that, whether it's supplies, whether it's volunteers, whether it's financial donations, how can the community kind of get behind you and then grow this into where you want it to be?
Okay. Well, for one, we're looking for mentors. We need quality men and quality women, where we can support the kids, as needed. It's a peculiar type of situation because we are doing our program during the day.
Yeah.
So then you need adults that have that availability during the day. But this is, that's what I'm looking for. I need mentors that don't mind making a sacrifice and have a passion to work with youth. You may already be doing it. You may already be a coach. You may already, occupy certain spaces. And so it's a perfect opportunity for you because you're able to spread the word for the things that you are already doing. But at the same time, you get that visibility and you earn that trust from your target audience as well, where when they see you in the community, you're not a stranger. They know who you are. They know where they can get help or get support from no matter where they are, and so that's one way people can help us. If you have any referrals or anything, send it to us. You can reach out to us at info@willpowerunleashed.com. Also, in-kind donations. We can always use donations, whether it's monetary, whether it's food-wise, because we feed our kids and stuff while we have in the morning sometimes. Transportation needs, because we do trips and things of that nature. And then just, office supplies, programmatic supplies. Because when we have our kids every day, we do lessons like, mini lectures or whatever, but we also do activities with them too to kind of tie in whatever the message was. Because I know what it's like to be a kid. You're just sitting there and somebody's talking to you, zone out.
Yep.
One thing the kids have to do, they have to take notes. So they know, like, when they're in a session, they got to take notes. And then when they get done those notes, they put their notes in a jar, and then we do a drawing every Wednesday for a Cash App drop. So it kind of helps them motivate them to stay focused on what's being taught to them. But we do activities, with our lessons. So whatever the topic is some type of game or something that's going to make them think about that topic when they go back to class.
Okay.
So programmatic supplies, we always need those things. And we have an Amazon wish list. So
that was my next question.
Yeah, I have to drop the link in the caption, and I give it to Megan to do that. But yeah, those are some of the main, and then partnerships too, because one of our goals and desires is to, in addition to youth receiving mentorship and you lecturing them and you telling them about character and you making them aware of things about themselves, because we walk them through self-awarenesses and things of that nature, so they can help make their own decisions when they see where their strengths and weaknesses are. But on top of that, they have to be exposed to things. So they have to be exposed to what this looks like in real time and play and demonstrate it. And so we need partners that don't mind facilitating experiences for our kids, whether it's like internships or whether it's just tours or whatever the case may be. Like we need partnerships. We need community members and business owners and things of that nature to join alongside with us so that we can connect what we're teaching them to an experience and how it's relative, because then that just drives it home a little bit more. One of the things that we are trying to build, we want to just really build our youth leadership and just the advocacy with that, and make that year round, and make it to a point where we are pipelining our kids from our youth leadership academy into public servant spaces, and governmental spaces. We're helping them to find their voice, and then we're putting them in places where their voice matters and it counts. So because that's the only way to see societal change, is for them to be in position. So we give them the tools to become and to find their voice, and then we want to pipeline them into these positions. Another thing we're trying to grow is our workforce development pipeline. And so teaching them interpersonal skills and the character, to be able to hold a job and keep a job, but to also find a career that suits them best.
Yeah.
And so we're working on, we need partners that don't mind taking a chance on youth, when they know they've been properly trained to work. One of my dreams is to have a temp agency, working temp agency for youth, 14 to 18, because 14 is the legal working age in Maryland, not 18, but a lot of businesses struggle with taking a risk on them because there's a lot of red tape associated with hiring a minor.
Right.
But those that are interested in, giving youth chances, and I've come across some business owners that they see the vision and they get it, and this is the way that we keep our youth off the street, and keep them keep them from doing things they shouldn't be doing, is to give them a sense of purpose, to give them something to do, and so that's pretty much been our theme for this year period. It's that intentionality and it's leadership, but by giving them things to do. So our boys, they rotate every quarter into a different aspect of leadership. So we have a leadership council, we have peer-to-peer mentors, we have community service, and then we have student ambassadors. And so every quarter they rotate. They have group assignments in each one of those groups. And so keeping them busy, helping them to identify a sense of purpose, so that they can have something to work towards. And like I said in the beginning, if there's no sense of purpose, then they will just do anything. They do what feels good. They're searching for something that gives them meaning, that they can connect to. So all of this counts. The partnerships matter because that expands our reach. One person cannot do it all.
Right.
I can't. I only work in this sector, and so I need people that I can lock arms with to say, I'm sending you over here, or hey, you ready for another kid? I got another one for you. Just that we need to kind of strengthen the community in that way. And what I'm really proud about is that we have a structured and solid program that we can track like specific outcomes that we're looking for. And so everything is intentional, and I'm just looking to build, and that's how the community can help. Hopefully that's something where you find yourself kind of.
No, I definitely think that's in a lot of different ways, because I know some people, hey, the financial might not be there, but they may have time freedom.
Exactly.
Some people don't have time freedom, but they're like, hey, I have money to support
I can write
you.
The check. We will take a check. Okay? So,
no checks denied.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads me into my next question. Where do you see WillPower in the next 3 to 5 years?
Those things, that's where I see it. I see us having a more established youth leadership pipeline and into public servant roles and governmental roles and spaces, and us being, a place where we're known for building leaders out of our young men and transforming, our young men and helping them see their influence that they have and how to utilize it in a more productive way as a leader. Our workforce development pipeline, that's something that I see coming to fruition, to be able to get our youth employed and off the streets and being able to be paid legally for things and not having to sell drugs or steal or rob or scam to make money, because those are real things. So if we want to see a change, we have to be it, at some point. And so those are things I look forward to seeing in the near future. And then I'm looking forward to digitizing our program as well.
Okay.
We want to be able to have like an app platform where kids can get mentorship, digitally, and can help with tracking goals digitally, and can receive like leadership advice and all that type of stuff. And so we want to digitize our program as well. So I would say leadership pipeline, workforce development pipeline, and digitize what we do so that it's accessible to every kid, whether we're in their school or not. We do also do like one-on-one mentorship for parents. If your kid is not in the school that we're at, we do have one-on-one clients that we mentor weekly, and so that's an option as well. But technology is the way of the world now. So if I can get it to a place where kids can still be helped, whether I'm there or not, that'll be great.
And great for you too, because then it just allows it to spread even faster, and the impact spreads even faster. Right.
And I don't stretch myself as thin, because I don't have to be everywhere at one time.
Yeah.
And so right now I'm really excited that we're training and building our mentors, and they're about to be on fire.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw some of your training videos.
Yeah, they're about to be on fire. Like they're just doing their thing. They already started with us, and shout out to them and to the ones that had an interview this morning. We're constantly building. So if you're interested in being part of the team, and you're hearing the things that I'm saying that we're doing, and you're interested in that type of work, then please reach out to us. We're able to offer stipends and pay our mentors, so which is a good thing. But yeah, that's where I kind of see us growing to.
Yeah, I love it. If you are already in the schools, what is the best way for either the parents or the students to connect with you, connect with, if there's another connection in the school, how would they be able to get information and access to the program?
Best way is to contact your school, talk to your administration at the school, and we're at that school, they know all about this already. So at all of our schools, we have a 40 student cap.
Okay.
So spaces are limited. But yeah, you just call the school, and that's how you would get your child to be a part if we're at their school. And then if you're interested in one-on-one mentorship, you can just reach out. You can find us on www.willpowerunleashed.com. You can send us an email at info@willpowerunleashed.com. You can find us on social media and send us a message. Instagram, it's Willpower Unleashed. Facebook is WillPower Unleashed. So yeah, just find us and let us know if you want one-on-one mentorship. But if we're already in your school and you're interested, just contact the school.
And if somebody's watching from a school that isn't already working with you, are you currently accepting new schools?
Yep.
And then same, just reach out directly to you guys?
Yep, reach out directly. We'll have an initial meeting, and of course there's steps that follow that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they can reach out. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have one last question.
Okay.
As far as your legacy, what do you want to be known for after, we'll say like 10, 20 years from now? What do you want to be known for as you're kind of beginning building WillPower out to what you vision it?
I guess just being a giver. That's the main thing. Giving up myself, my time, the nurturing that's needed, the support that was needed for someone else to be successful, covering that gap between the stairs, and, whatever the work that I was able to accomplish or time I was able to spend with the child that helped get them to their next level, because that really is the whole point of it. Yeah. It's to pretty much redeem time. So, we don't want to waste any more time. All of us here, we've gone through enough that they don't have to go through again. So throwing myself out there so we can redeem time and expedite your success quickly. So that would pretty much be it.
Well, I appreciate everything that you're doing. I think your impact probably is way bigger than you can imagine, because I'm sure the conversation that we had with our son wasn't the only conversation that's happened in houses, and you're bringing that conversation home. So one thing I did leave out, this application wasn't just a one-page, write your name and sign, your parents sign at the bottom and send me a check and go on. This was like a multi-page application. It was a way for you guys to really get to know these kids.
Right.
And for what we did was, it was us three in a room and, hey, well, how would you describe yourself? We're having the home conversation, and it's all based off of just the application. So if those are the conversations that the application is starting, I can only imagine the conversations that are actually happening when you're in the group settings, because you're already preparing them for, this isn't just a get out of class pass.
No.
You really have to be committed. And and I look at applications and things, extracurriculars, and I really kind of like take note of it, because what you're asking on the application kind of shows the commitment. So if it's one page, okay, well, I'm going to sign it. We're going to run around in the field and everything's going to be good. 2 pages and a few detailed questions like, okay, they're just worried about some health concerns. But you went way deeper into the personality, which showed like, hey, if you want to fill out this application, you like really have to be ready to commit. And it allows a student to decide, is this really for me?
Right.
Or is it not? Is it like, hey, I'm not at that place in my life where I'm ready to commit to that growth. So I wanted to also bring that up, because I think the application is amazing. I think the questions are really thought-provoking. It started a bunch of conversations just in our home, just kind of reading through it.
Wow.
So
thank you for sharing that, because you're the first parent ever that shared that feedback with me about just that application process, which was, again, intentional, because we want to hear from the parents. What type of child do you believe you have, and then how do you want us to support your child as mentors, and then for the child, it's important because we can't help them if we don't really know all angles of how they're perceived. We don't know how to help them, because when we're dealing with a kid in the school, they're only going to tell us what's relative to that moment. And whatever else we can perceive from, that environment. But other than that, we're not going to know. But if that parent, that's raising that child can say, out of a 1, 2, and 3, in leadership, my son is probably like a 2, and he could use some support, then that helps us to kind of laser focus. And, my mentors would tell you, I'm like, well, look, this parent said this, and we need to keep an eye out for this. And when you're talking to this child, make sure you're talking about this part, because, when we talked to them, they didn't say anything, but it was in that packet, And so it just provides us an opportunity to be tactful and be as intentional. I want to see results. Like we talk even to like the schools and stuff like that. And, there were times where, because we're only there 2 days a week.
Okay.
So the other days that we weren't there, like our kids may have been, had referrals or, maybe received suspensions. And then when we do come on Mondays and Wednesdays, we talking about whatever we talking about. I'm like, well, no, I need to know that part. So that when we're having conversation, I can hit this thing right on the nail, because we don't want to see that type of repeat behavior. But thank you for sharing that.
No, and I think for you guys, it speeds up the process of figuring them out, because at the end of the day, you only have a school year.
Right.
And then hopefully, if they're in 6th grade, you might have them in 7th grade. But what if they're in 8th grade and you're not in that high school yet?
Right.
Now they're gone. They may have attended the summer camp, so you had them 8th grade summer camp, but now they're gone, and it's like, I don't have that initial time where it's like you kind of get right to it, and it's like, okay, here's what they need, here's what we're going to give them. Of course, you're going to learn new things and progress, but I think I was like, oh, wow. So they're going to know from the get-go. It's not, okay, I'm going to spend the first, if you think of like rec sports,
kids,
you spend the first practice learning each other's names. Well, you guys eliminated that. So first practice is, no, ball in hand, we're dribbling down the court and getting right to action. So
that's good. Because even us now, like we started like a month after school started.
Okay.
So there's already things going on. We don't want repeat behaviors and practices from last year, that you're falling into. So we need to have honest conversations. I don't want the smiley representative. I want the one that is behind the mask. The one that is still getting in the same situation and nobody knows why. That's the one I want.
And good for you, because sometimes people are just like, it's the problem child. We just kind of like stay away from it. I appreciate the impact. I know the impact currently is in Harford County. I'm sure that's going to be short-lived and spread we've even had further.
Some calls from schools in Baltimore City that are interested in bringing this out there, and I still have strong ties to the city of Baltimore because I was working there for a number of years, and so a lot of the youth and partners that are still in that area, I still very much connected to them for in the event when we're ready to bring it full throttle. But shout out to all the mentorship programs, all the people that are doing this line of work in Baltimore City. There's so many, and in Harford County as well. All of my constituents and colleagues, shout out to y'all, much respect to y'all, and it's time for us to band together and make this happen and close up the gaps. And if you feel like this is important, then we could really use your support behind it. Like we said, it's monetary, it's partners, it's volunteers, it's advice, it's a connection, introduce us to somebody that, maybe guarding the door somewhere that can get us access to something. And then sometimes we need some pro bono work too, especially when it comes down to writing grants and just helping identify where some of the support and money is at. All of that good stuff. So, and one thing I wanted to say that I forgot to mention is that what we do is not magic. Sometimes people think because we are proclaimed or profess mentorship, program, that you should fix my child or fix my student like that. And it doesn't work that way. It's a consistent journey. So some things they happen over time. The kids that we had last year we got to a certain point, but we're looking to go deeper even this year. And so it's not a quick fix; it's a journey. And I just wanted to make sure that was known as well.
As far as grants, and this will be my last question, are you guys set up as a nonprofit or for-profit?
Both. We have a LLC side
Awesome.
and a nonprofit side.
Perfect. So that opens up and helps.
Yeah.
So if anyone knows any grants, any funding opportunities, any corporate sponsors, the Amazon wish list, there's a million ways that you guys can be supported, and hopefully a little bit more exposure, and people seeing this will see that, hey, one, they may just see and say, hey, it's a great program for my son, it's a great program for my daughter, or just, hey, I don't have anyone at those schools, but let's get behind it because I think it's needed. And I think you bring a really, really unique aspect of being in the schools and being that resource, because I think the schools are so limited between funding and teachers and responsibilities that you kind of coming in and taking that weight off of them is just so powerful. And I know, as excited as my son was, I was like, these conversations are happening all over. And
we try to be as personal as possible with the kids too. Like the saying, you don't meet a stranger. You know, that's how it is sometimes when we meet kids. You know, we just, and I know I saw your son in the cafeteria last time I was there too on Wednesday. And I dapped him up. I don't remember talking to him about a permission slip. I think I might have talked to somebody next to him or around him.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show, you know, just about how they feel about us being there, and they're excited.
So, So thank you for all that you do. I will drop all of your information into the description so everyone can click the links, find the way to reach you, and bring you into more schools, bring more students into your programs, and then let's get behind you and make sure that you guys are funded the way that you need to be to continue to grow.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.